What if the history we know is merely a fragmented echo of a much grander, more complex past? What if vast stretches of ancient history remain shrouded in an impenetrable mystery, not by chance, but by design, or by the relentless, indifferent march of time itself? Tonight, on Echoes of Time, we embark on a profound journey, not just into the past, but into the very act of its disappearance. We seek to understand the unsettling forces, both natural and man-made, that act as silent erasers, systematically wiping out pivotal truths and entire civilizations from our collective memory, leaving behind only tantalizing whispers and inexplicable voids. For centuries, humanity has sought to record its triumphs, its tragedies, its knowledge. Yet for every inscription carved into stone, every scroll meticulously penned, there exists an equally powerful counterforce, an eraser at work. Consider the catastrophic burning of the Library of Alexandria, an event so monumental in its destruction that its very mention still evokes a sense of profound loss.
Imagine, if you will, the greatest repository of ancient knowledge, a beacon of human intellect, a nexus of philosophical thought, scientific inquiry, and historical record, turning to ash. Countless scrolls containing the accumulated wisdom of millennia, entire epics of understanding about the natural world, lost civilizations, and the very fabric of early human thought, vanished in a searing inferno. With each flicker of flame, an untold story was silenced, a groundbreaking discovery eradicated, a crucial piece of the human puzzle dissolved into smoke. The silence left behind by that fire continues to resonate through the ages, a chilling testament to how easily the most precious truths can be obliterated, leaving future generations to grope in shadows where once there was light. But not all erasures are accidental or even collateral damage. History is replete with instances of deliberate acts of historical obliteration, chillingly precise in their intent. The Roman practice of Damnatio Memoriae stands as a stark reminder of the power wielded by those who sought to control not just the present, but also the narrative of the past. When an emperor or public figure fell from grace, their very existence could be expunged from all records. Statues were toppled, inscriptions chiseled away, names removed from official documents, coins defaced. It was a decree of non-existence, a systematic effort to erase a person from the collective memory, to deny them their place in history. Imagine the sheer audacity, the chilling power of such an act. Not merely punishing the living, but reaching beyond the grave to render an individual utterly forgotten, as if they had never been. This was more than just censorship. It was an attempt to rewrite reality itself, to control what future generations were allowed to know and remember, shaping a historical narrative to suit the agenda of those in power. Yet beyond these dramatic, often brutal, man-made deletions, there are other, more insidious erasers at work, relentless and indifferent to human endeavor. The very forces of nature, coupled with humanity's own neglect, have claimed vast swaths of our historical heritage. Take the Mayans, for example. They left behind monumental cities, intricate calendars, and a sophisticated understanding of mathematics and astronomy, etched into stone and stucco. Their achievements stand as awe-inspiring testaments to a complex, vibrant civilization. Yet, today, large parts of their narrative are lost, swallowed whole by the relentless embrace of the encroaching jungle. The thick canopy, the aggressive root systems, the ceaseless humidity, these natural forces, combined with the sheer ravages of time, have worked in concert to dismantle, obscure, and ultimately erase the details of a magnificent past. Whole cities become indistinguishable mounds, intricate glyphs succumb to erosion, and the subtle nuances of their culture fade into the green oblivion. leaving archaeologists to piece together fragments of a truly grand story from tantalizing, often contradictory remnants. The brutality of human conflict has also been an unrelenting erasure. Wars and conquests throughout history have not only extinguished lives, but have systematically obliterated the very records of those lives, those cultures, and those civilizations. Victorious armies often sought not just to defeat their enemies, but to erase their identity, destroying libraries, temples, and archives, cutting off the roots of a conquered people's heritage. The physical destruction of war leaves gaping holes in the historical record, but the subsequent imposition of a new order, a new language, a new belief system often completes the erasure, silencing the conquered narratives forever. What truths, what innovations, what philosophies have been lost in the brutal wake of conquest, their echoes silenced by the dust of empires? Natural disasters too play their part, often with sudden and devastating effect. The volcanic eruption that buried Pompeii, for instance, preserved a city in a moment of agonizing doom, an incredible archaeological snapshot of daily life in the Roman Empire. But while it offers unparalleled insights into that specific moment, it simultaneously represents a profound loss. The obliteration of a living, evolving community, its future narratives, its ongoing contributions, forever frozen and then buried beneath layers of ash and pumice. It is a moment stopped, but also a future denied, and a long continuum of history abruptly severed. And then there is the quiet, pervasive work of simple neglect. The slow decay of materials, the erosion of memory, the gradual wearing away of structures and traditions that are not actively maintained or remembered. Time itself, an indifferent titan, systematically breaks down even the most robust records. Stone weathers, wood rots, metals corrode, and textiles turn to dust. Without constant care and preservation, even the most significant artifacts and documents succumb to entropy, fading from existence not with a bang, but with a whisper, then a sigh, until they are gone. Perhaps one of the most fundamental silent erasers is the inherent fragility of ancient recording methods. Before the advent of durable paper and digital archives, knowledge was entrusted to remarkably vulnerable mediums. Papyrus scrolls, while revolutionary for their time, were susceptible to moisture, fire, insects, and simply the passage of centuries. Oral traditions, though powerful vehicles for transmitting culture, were inherently mutable, prone to alteration, misinterpretation, or complete loss with the death of storytellers or the dispersal of communities. Perishable materials like animal hides, bark, or wooden tablets used in various cultures around the globe had limited lifespans, their inscriptions destined to fade, crack, or decompose. Much knowledge was simply too delicate to withstand the relentless march of entropy, succumbing to the elements long before it could be replicated or enshrined in more enduring forms. How many profound insights, how many groundbreaking discoveries, how many epic tales were simply written on the wind, never to be truly captured? But are these erasures always accidental? Is the loss merely a consequence of the passage of time, the ravages of nature, or the collateral damage of human conflict? One prominent hypothesis suggests a more sinister hand, proposing the deliberate suppression of narratives that challenge established power structures or religious doctrines. Imagine a world where certain truths, certain perspectives were deemed too dangerous, too disruptive to the prevailing order. What if history's gatekeepers actively buried accounts that contradicted official dogma, that exposed inconvenient truths about those in power, or that revealed alternative paths for human development that were seen as threats? This theory posits that the history we receive is not just a collection of surviving facts, but a carefully curated selection, shaped by the powerful to maintain control and societal order, actively burying anything that could be considered paradigm shifting.
The very notion that forbidden knowledge might exist, deliberately hidden from the masses, is a tantalizing and unsettling prospect that challenges the foundations of what we believe we know. Another intriguing debate focuses on the cyclical nature of civilization itself. What if advanced societies have risen and fallen throughout history, perhaps even reaching technological or philosophical peaks that rival or even surpass our own, only to collapse and leave little discernible trace? Could these societies have succumbed to their own internal conflicts, environmental catastrophes, or unknown forces, their achievements gradually eroding until they were dismissed as mere myth or legend? This perspective challenges the linear view of human progress, suggesting a grander, more complex ebb and flow of civilizations across the millennia, where each collapse acts as a massive, silent eraser, resetting the clock and burying the evidence of previous golden ages. If such cycles exist, then our understanding of human potential, and indeed human history, could be dramatically incomplete, built on the premise that we are always at the leading edge, rather than potentially rediscovering paths trodden long ago. Could there be truths so profound, so paradigm-shifting, that they were actively buried, not necessarily by malice, but by the overwhelming forces of civilizational collapse, only to be dismissed as the fantastic ramblings of ancient cultures? As professional explorers of these forgotten pages of history, archaeologists and historians find themselves on the front lines of the battle against the silent erasers. Their work is a painstaking, often frustrating, yet ultimately vital endeavor to piece together narratives from these tantalizing, often contradictory remnants. They sift through the dust of ages, examining archaeological anomalies that defy easy explanation, deciphering cryptic texts whose full meanings remain elusive, and exploring compelling theories that challenge our understanding of what was and what might have been. Every shard of pottery unearthed, every faded inscription interpreted, every lost city rediscovered is a victory against the relentless forces of oblivion. They are the detectives of the past, seeking clues in the smallest fragments, reconstructing grand narratives from barely audible whispers. The silent erasers continue their work, relentlessly shaping the contours of our collective memory, obscuring truths and burying the records of vanished civilizations. But their victims still whisper secrets to those willing to listen, to those with the patience to sift through the dust and the courage to question the established narrative. At Echoes of Time, we believe that every discovery is an echo of humanity's great history, a chance to better understand our present by illuminating the darkness of the past. The journey to unearth ancient history's forgotten truths and vanished records is an unending quest, one that constantly forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge. What astonishing chapters of human history lie yet undiscovered, just beyond the veil of what we currently perceive as reality, waiting for us to uncover their profound and paradigm-shifting echoes.